So about 2 months ago, I came out with this video right here, how I became the best player on HEXMC. It was HEXMC's first ever tournament and the format was Natdex AG with a 2 legendary restriction. I was able to win it all and become the first ever HEXMC champion. Fast forward to August 14th where HEXMC decides that they would announce the return of that format in a tournament which would take place on August 24th. And I wasn't going to enter. Yeah, see, I actually hate the AG format. I understand it's the format meant for cheese, but I don't actually like cheese. However, my good friend Balak really wanted to enter because HEXMC has now introduced these 1-on-1 exclusive gold skins for their custom Pokemon, and you can only get them by winning first place in a tournament. And this tournament just so happened to have the reward of a gold Paradox Mewtwo called Iron Psych, which, by the way, is incredibly broken. It has a 800 base stat total, which is more than Mega Rayquaza, and it has a 194 special attack stat. It's absolutely insane, but anyway, Balak really wanted it, but he couldn't make the tournament. So I told him that if he made me a team, I would go ahead and enter and try to win for him and gift him the Golden Iron Psych. And so, this is the story of how I swept the entire tournament with Enamorus. Yep, as the title and thumbnail said, I swept this tournament with Enamorus. Now you might be asking yourself how. Well, let's go over it real fast. Enamorus in Pixelmon gets the exclusive move, Springtide Storm. It's a 100 power, 80% accurate move that when it lands, it deals big damage, but it gives Enamorus an Omni boost. But not just like your regular Ancient Power Omni boost, it also boosts evasion and accuracy. You pair this with the Wide Lens item to ensure that you land that first Springtide Storm, and Enamorus becomes unstoppable. Balak actually discovered this a while ago, and we actually talked about it together and how insane it could be in a tournament. Well, this was our chance. Now that you know the context behind Enamorus, let's get right into the team. And I want to give a special shout out and a big thanks to Balak for making this team for me. He absolutely killed it, and the first member of the team is the star of the show, Enamorus, which Balak named Mitchell's mommy. I don't ask. Anyway, the set we're running is of course Springtide Storm, which is our main move. We also have Earth Power, Mystical Fire, and Sludge Bomb for coverage. The item we have is Wide Lens, and our EVs are as follows because we need it to hit hard and also be bulky in the rare occasion that our opponent lands a move. Our next team member is our second legendary of the team, Iron Psych, who I named Mew3 because, come on. This Pokemon is absolutely insane. I mean, look at those stats, and the set we're rocking with is a max special attack and speed with a timid nature. Our goal is to have this thing to be just an insane wall breaker and to get openings for Enamorus or even clean up a late game. We have Nasty Plot in case we are able to set up. We have Side Strike and Moonblast for stab, and Aura Sphere for coverage. Our item is Life Orb for maximum damage output. Next up is Alaskan Bullworm, the Earthworm. Now, this is Enamorus' best friend because he can pass Shed Tails to our sweeper. We also have Earthquake and Iron Head for damage, as well as Hazards and Stealth Rock. Our Alaskan Bullworm is more built on the special defense side since our physical bulk is already insane. The item we have is Citrus Berry for longevity and to pretty much guarantee a Shed Tail off. Now we have one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, Cleffy the Clefable. Balak made this set a unaware physical tank to stop any setup sweepers while also having Cosmic Power for defensive increase. You got Moonlight for longevity, Moonblast for stab, and of course Baton Pass so we can pass these boosts to one of our other Pokemon to increase their defenses. Alright, this next member has my favorite nickname of the whole team, and if you are a Skylander fan, you know that we are rocking a Dracovish named Gilgrunt. This Pokemon is just your simple Scarf user, click Vicious Rend and do big damage and laugh. The rest of our moves are just for coverage, but honestly, I never clicked these moves once in the entire tournament, and the EVs are the classic Fast Scarf Dracovish. Last up is our final member, who I named Cringe Gambit II. If you remember the first HEXMC tournament video, you know that I actually won that tournament with a King Gambit named Cringe Gambit. Balak decided to bring him back, but this time in a new shiny blue armor. The EV spread is max HP and attack for being a bulky hitter, and the item Black Glasses to make Sucker Punch and Cowtail Cleave hit like a nuke. We also have Swords Dance for potential setup, and of course Iron Head for our other stab option. So, with all that said, this is our team, and big thanks and shout out again to Balak for making this team. And alright, let's get right into the battles and how I swept the entire tournament with Enamorus. Our first opponent is actually against Scar, who is chilling in the call with me for this entire tournament alongside Evan. He put a lot of time and effort into his team, and while I didn't know what he was using, I knew that Scar of all people would be terrifying to go against, especially with his team building skills. The battle starts. He leads Gothitelle, I lead Orthworm. He goes for Trick and switches items, giving me the Choice Scarf, and he takes my Citrus Berry. However, I had used Shed Tail. I then send in Enamorus, who is behind the sub. And now, the takeover begins. I use Springtide Storm on the Gothitelle, getting an Omni Boost so it can't break my sub. He then swaps to Melmetal as I use another Springtide Storm, getting another Omni Boost. I then Dynamax and use Max Flare to KO the Melmetal. Scar then sends in Ditto, not realizing that since I have a substitute, Ditto's ability doesn't work. He Dynamaxes to use Max Guard to waste a Dynamax turn, but it's too late. I use Max Starfall and KO the Ditto. Iron Sight comes in next, but falls to Sludge Bomb. His Grimmsnarl comes out, but then falls to Springtide. Gothitelle meets the same fate. His Smeargle comes out, and yet again falls to the Springtide Storm. And with that, I start the tournament with an Enamorus sweep, and it was far from the last one. Yeah, whenever I said that I sweep this entire tournament with Enamorus, I mean that literally. My next opponent in round 2 is Martian, and he's a pretty good player and has a solid looking team, but I have Enamorus. He leads Grimmsnarl, I lead Orthworm. As he sets up Reflect, I use Shed Tail into Enamorus, and so it begins again. And I'm not even going to waste your time, I'm just going to let you see it for yourself. Zacian comes out, but like everything else, it just falls to a Mystical Fire. Ditto comes out, but can't transform again thanks to sub, and yep, it's gone. Samurott comes out, maybe it can, and it's gone. Charizard comes in, and hey look, it lives! And it megas! But it misses Flamethrower, and then it falls to Sludge Bomb. Zekrom is out next, and it's gone. Grimmsnarl comes back out, and just as fast as it came in, it falls. Another Enamorus sweep. Yeah, this strategy is so dumb. As I made it to round 3, my opponent was Firestorm, and I knew there was no way I'd be able to get a third sweep. I was wrong. I lead Orthworm as he leads Ariados, I use Shed Tail as he sets up Sticky Web. Out comes Enamorus, I use Springtide Storm, but he uses Nightshade, which actually destroyed my substitute. No matter, another Springtide Storm takes it down. Out comes his Ditto, which actually transforms into my Enamorus. However, I just Dynamax and use Max Ooze, KOing it instantly. Out comes Xerneas, and it's gone. Max Ooze into Oblivion. Machamp is out next, but I just Max Starfall it to KO. Volcanion is out, and it's gone. Lastly, the VGC King himself, Incineroar, comes out, but it gets KO'd with one last Earth Power, my third sweep of the tournament. At this point, I'm at the finals, and I have to wait for my last opponent for a while, which actually happens to be Firestorm yet again. And for this battle, I told Evan, who was also chilling in the call, that I would bring out every single one of my Pokemon before I won with Enamorus for this battle. And so, the challenge began. I lead King Gambit as he leads Volcanion. I was expecting a Ditto lead, but it didn't matter. I swap into Iron Psych. I take a big hit, but then I go for Psy Strike and do major damage while living on 1 HP from the next Steam Eruption. I then go for one last Psy Strike to take out Volcanion, but Iron Psych also falls to the Life Orb damage. Next up, I send in Dracovish as Firestorm sends in Xerneas. I use Vicious Rend and do big damage to Xerneas, taking it to about 5%. Xerneas had used Geomancy, and the next turn, it takes out Dracovish. I then simply send in Unaware Clefable and use a Moonblast to take out Xerneas. Firestorm then sends in Incineroar, and I use Moonblast, doing big damage before falling to Flare Blitz. I then send in Orthworm and do a Shed Tail into Enamorus, but Incineroar actually just takes out the sub. I then KO Incineroar with Springtide Storm. Ariados is out next, so I swap into King Gambit, who's immune to the Poison Jab. He then uses Nightshade, but I just Kowtow Cleave. He uses Nightshade again, but one last Kowtow Cleave takes down the Ariados. He sends in Ditto, who transforms into King Gambit. I use Kowtow Cleave yet again, doing about 40%. His Kowtow Cleave hurts, but mine hurts more, and I know he's scarfed into it. I do another Kowtow Cleave after surviving another with 9 HP, and Ditto is at 22%. I then use Sucker Punch, and the Ditto falls. Machamp is out next, and Firestorm decided to Dynamax. And I knew Enamorus could easily just win with Dynamaxing and KOing Machamp with Max Starfall, and that's exactly what I do, winning me the entire tournament. And yeah, that's how I won. 3 out of 4 of my battles were actually an Enamorus sweep. This strategy is so dumb. It should be banned in every Pixelmon tournament. I know in our Pixelmon seasons, this move is banned until they fix it, because the normal effect that Springtide Storm is supposed to do is just when it lands, it lowers the opponent's attack by 1 stage, but this is absolutely ridiculous, stupid OP. If you want to use it on your friends, I welcome it. I mean, if you're in a Pixelmon server with your friends and they don't watch my videos, just use Enamorus, sweep them, and then when they ask you how you learned about the strat, link them to this video, let them check out my channel. See, win-win. You beat your friends, and I get your friends to then watch my YouTube video after, and it's a win-win. But yeah, as you can see, I got my Golden Iron Psyche right here, which the model looks amazing, and I am giving it to Balak. He's actually giving me a gold variant that he got from winning a tournament in the past, so I'm still getting something cool out of this deal. I want to say thank you again to Balak for making the team, and I do want to clarify something because I actually got a bit of a hard time for not using my own team that I made in this tournament. First of all, I hate AG. It's cheese. I won with cheese. I know I won with cheese. It's a stupid strategy that should be banned. I know HEXMC, they're banning it in all their tournaments moving forward, and most Pixelmon tournaments, it is banned, but it wasn't banned in this one, so why not use it and make a video out of it? Also, I don't know how to tell people this, but a lot of their favorite battlers don't make their own teams, and that's fine. There's no stigma or anything behind it. There's a lot of people that use teams that people make for them, or teams that are on the Team Bazaar. I always recommend to new players too, use the sample teams. Whenever you're getting into Pokemon Showdown and competitive, use the sample teams until, you know, you feel confident enough, you feel well-versed enough to then make your own team. There's no shame in that, nothing wrong with that. So, I don't know, maybe it's just the salt that people were feeling from it, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with not using your own team. I have won tournaments by making my own teams. I mean, the Pixelmon series that I upload, I made all my teams in that series. But there have been tournaments like this one that I have won in the past with a team that I did not make. So, yeah, don't let that become a thing. It was just stupid, and I don't know why people were kind of giving me a hard time about that. But, yeah, we don't listen to them. It's just salt. Enamorus is stupid. Swept an entire tournament. The most overpowered Pokemon in Pixelmon right now. So, use it on your friends, and yeah. That does it for this video. Check out HEXMC, link in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next video where I won't sweep a tournament with Enamorus. I will actually play a tournament. But yeah, until then, check out one of these videos here on screen, and I'll see you guys then. Take care.